This overview explores the key features of ancient Jerusalem, providing a glimpse into the city's rich heritage and its enduring legacy. But let me tell you, this video is about the ancient city of Jerusalem, which according to my research is in Africa, southern part called Namibia. This is what I have researched. I encourage you to also do so. Jerusalem's history is indeed fascinating and deeply intertwined with biblical events. Ancient period. 4500 to 3500 BCE. First settlement established near the Gihon Spring. Genesis 2 verses 10 to 14. Mentions the Gihon River as one of the rivers flowing out of Eden. Biblical era. 1010 BCE. King David captures Jerusalem, making it the capital of the United Kingdom of Israel. 2 Samuel 5 verses 6 to 7. Describes David's conquest of Jerusalem. 970 to 931 BCE. Reign of King Solomon. Construction of the First Temple. 1 Kings 6 verse 1. Details the construction of Solomon's Temple. 586 BCE. Destruction of Jerusalem and the First Temple by Nebuchadnezzar, Jews exiled to Babylon. 2 Kings 25 verses 8 to 10. Accounts the destruction of Jerusalem and the Temple. Persian period. 537 BCE. Jews return from Babylonian exile by edict of King Cyrus. Ezra 1 verses 1 to 3. Cyrus's decree allowing Jews to return and rebuild the temple. 520 to 515 BCE. Rebuilding and rededication of the Second Temple. Ezra 6 verses 15 to 16. Completion and dedication of the Second Temple. Hellenistic period. 332 BCE. Alexander the Great conquers Jerusalem. Daniel 8 verse 21. Prophecy about the Greek Empire. Roman period. 70 CE. Destruction of Jerusalem and the Second Temple by the Romans. Matthew 24 verse 2. Jesus' prophecy about the destruction of the temple. Prophecies of destruction and judgment of Jerusalem. Several prophets foretold the destruction of Jerusalem as a consequence of the people's, the Israelites, sins and disobedience to God. Ezekiel. He warned of the impending doom and the scattering of the people. Ezekiel 5 verse 12. A third part of you shall die of pestilence and be consumed with famine in your midst. A third part shall fall by the sword all around you, and a third part one will scatter to all the winds and will unsheath the sword after them. Jeremiah. He prophesied that Jerusalem would become a heap of ruins and a haunt of jackals due to the people's unfaithfulness. Jeremiah 9 verse 11. I will make Jerusalem a heap of ruins, a haunt of jackals, and I will make the cities of Judah a desolation without inhabitant. Jeremiah 9 verse 11 is a biblical verse that speaks of God's judgment on Jerusalem and Judah due to their sin and disobedience. Jerusalem as a heap of ruins. The city, once thriving and full of life, will be reduced to a state of destruction and desolation. Haunt of jackals. The city will be so desolate that it will become a habitat for wild animals, symbolizing the complete abandonment and devastation. Cities of Judah as desolation. The surrounding cities will also face similar destruction, emphasizing the widespread nature of the judgment. Without inhabitant. The cities will be left uninhabited, highlighting the severity of the judgment and the potential for long-term abandonment. What you see here is the results of disobedience of the children of Israel. They were all black people living in this land. The prophecies were fulfilled. This is evident. The biblical Jerusalem is uninhabited. It is a heap of ruins. There is no rain. The land is barren, nothing grows there. Jesus predicted the destruction of Jerusalem and the temple, emphasizing the consequences of rejecting him. Luke 19 verses 43 to 44. For the days will come upon you when your enemies will build an embankment against you, surround you and close you in on every side, and level you and your children within you to the ground, and they will not leave in you one stone upon another, because you did not know the time of your visitation. In this biblical passage, Jesus prophesies the destruction of Jerusalem. Enemies will surround and besiege Jerusalem. Jesus foretells a time when Jerusalem will be attacked and surrounded by enemies, emphasizing the severity of the situation. Destruction and leveling. The city will be leveled to the ground, with its inhabitants, including children, facing dire consequences. Not one stone upon another. The city will be completely destroyed, with not a single stone left standing on top of another, highlighting the extent of the devastation. Here's a comparison between Jeremiah 9 verse 11 and Luke 19 verses 43 to 44. Destruction and desolation. Both passages prophesy destruction and desolation, with Jeremiah 9 verse 11 describing Jerusalem as a heap of ruins, and Luke 19 verses 43 to 44 foretelling the city being leveled to the ground. Consequences of sin. Both passages imply consequences for sin and disobedience, with Jeremiah 9 verse 11 highlighting Judah's sin and Luke 19 verses 43 to 44 emphasizing Jerusalem's failure to recognize God's visitation. Jeremiah 9 verse 11 prophesies the destruction of Jerusalem and Judah in the context of the Babylonian exile, 586 BCE. While Luke 19 verses 43 to 44 foretells the destruction of Jerusalem by the Romans in 70 CE. Jeremiah 9 verse 11 focuses on the general destruction of Jerusalem and Judah, while Luke 19 verses 43 to 44 provides more specific details about the siege and destruction of Jerusalem. Jeremiah 9 verse 11 emphasizes Judah's sin and disobedience as the cause of destruction, while Luke 19 verses 43 to 44 highlights Jerusalem's failure to recognize God's visitation, Jesus' ministry, as the reason for the destruction. Isaiah 5 verse 6 is a biblical verse that speaks of God's judgment on Israel. The prophet Isaiah ministered to the kingdom of Judah during the reign of King Uzziah, 783 to 742 BCE, and King Jotham, 742 to 735 BCE. During this time, Judah had become complacent and corrupt, with social injustice, idolatry, and moral decay rampant. Isaiah's prophecies aimed to call the people back to God and warn them of the consequences of their actions. Isaiah 5 verse 6. And I will lay it waste, it shall not be pruned nor digged, but there shall come up briars and thorns. I will also command the clouds that they rain no rain upon it. Hosea 10 verse 8. The high places also of Avon, the sin of Israel, shall be destroyed. The thorn and the thistle shall come up on their altars. Hosea 10 verse 8 is a biblical verse that speaks of God's judgment on Israel's idolatry. High places of Avon refers to the idolatrous worship sites in Israel, specifically Bethel, also known as Beth-Aven, which means house of wickedness, or house of idols. The sin of Israel highlights the root cause of God's judgment, Israel's idolatry and sin. Destroyed. God's judgment will bring destruction to these idolatrous worship sites. Thorn and thistle on their altars symbolizes the desolation and abandonment of these worship sites, with weeds and thorns overgrowing the altars. Hosea ministered to Israel during a time of great spiritual decay and idolatry. The nation had turned away from God and adopted the idolatrous practices of the surrounding nations. Hosea's prophecies aim to call Israel back to God and warn them of the consequences of their actions. All hidden things will be revealed in the last days. Here is biblical evidence for that. Luke 8 verse 17. For nothing is secret, that shall not be made manifest, neither anything hid, that shall not be known and come abroad. This verse emphasizes that everything hidden will eventually be revealed. Luke 12 verses 2 to 3. For there is nothing covered that shall not be revealed, neither hid that shall not be known. Therefore whatsoever ye have spoken in darkness shall be heard in the light, and that which ye have spoken in the ear in closets shall be proclaimed upon the housetops. This passage highlights that secrets and hidden actions will be exposed. Matthew 10 verse 26. Fear them not therefore, for there is nothing covered that shall not be revealed, and hid that shall not be known. 1 Corinthians 4 verse 5. Therefore judge nothing before the appointed time. Wait until the Lord comes. He will bring to light what is hidden in darkness and will expose the motives of men's hearts. Ecclesiastes 12 verse 14. For God shall bring every work into judgment, with every secret thing, whether it be good or whether it be evil. Hebrews 4 verse 13. Nothing in all creation is hidden from God's sight. Everything is uncovered and exposed before the eyes of him to whom we must give account. The verses emphasize that nothing can remain hidden forever, and God's judgment will ultimately reveal all secrets, motives, and actions. Thank you to Jerusalem Script Channel for providing well-researched insights. For more in-depth explorations of the Holy Land's true location, check out Jerusalem Script YouTube channel.
Thanks for watching. May the truth set you free and bring you closer to God, Elohim. Until next time, stay enlightened.